Byron Donalds went off.
He was the most liberal senator in the United States.
Racial identity.
You want me to talk?
Welcome to Disturbing the Peace with Pastor John Amanchukwu. Do me a big favor. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content. Let's take a look at what's going on in our world today with politics. Identity politics is the name of the day. And recently, President Trump was asked a question about whether or not Kamala Harris was a DEI hire. Take a look at this video.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead.
That's a good question.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define the.
She can't define
I
it.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President
Oh,
Kamala
my
Harris
goodness.
is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly, very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She has always identified as a Black woman. She went to a historically Black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really
have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be, could be.
Well, there you have it, folks. This news anchor and moderator can't even define what diversity, equity, and inclusion is herself, but she wants President Trump to tell us what it means to be a DEI hire. These people have lost their minds. And this whole conversation about identity politics and whether or not Kamala Harris is a Black girl or an Indian girl was started by Kamala Harris in the first place. You can't run for office and choose your ethnicity based upon the demographics of people that you want to win. These people are something. Now let's take a look at Byron Donalds, who recently went on the George Stephanopoulos show, and he had to talk about the same thing. Take a look at this.
Just bring in Republican Congressman and Trump ally Byron Donalds. Congressman, thank you for joining us this morning. Why is former President Trump questioning the Vice President's racial identity?
Well, first, George, in Chicago, he was responding to a question from, I believe, Rachel Scott. Like, this is really a phony controversy. I don't really care. Most people don't. But if we're going to be accurate, when Kamala Harris went into the United States Senate, it was AP that said she was the first Indian American United States Senator. It was actually played up a lot when she came into the Senate. Now she's running nationally. Obviously, the campaign has shifted. They're talking much more about her father's heritage and her Black identity. It doesn't really matter. The president mentioned it. What he also talks about far more frequently is the fact that Kamala Harris is the person who created this massive inflation, which is destroying Black families, white families, Hispanic families. It's her failure as border czar that has left our southern border wide open, more than 10 million illegal immigrants coming into our country, record fentanyl coming into our country, which has killed more Americans than at any other point in the history of our country with respect specifically to fentanyl, and the fact that she and Joe Biden have unleashed one of the worst foreign policies in the history of our country that has us on the verge of World War III. That is Kamala Harris.
He is lighting him up.
President Trump talks about that frequently, but yes, he did mention it in Chicago in response to a question from Rachel Scott.
And you just repeated the slur again. If it doesn't matter, why do you all keep questioning her identity? She's always identified as a black woman. She is biracial. She has a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She's always identified as both. Why are you questioning that?
Well, George, first of all, this is something that's actually a conversation throughout social media right now. There were a lot of people who are trying to figure this out. But again, that's a side issue, not the main issue. The main issue.
Sir, one second. You just did it. You just did it again.
Of the United States.
Why do you insist on questioning her racial identity?
You want me to talk?
I want you to answer my question.
George, now that
George,
let me answer. He talked about it on the stage yesterday in Atlanta for what, 2 minutes? He spent more than 35, 40 minutes going after her record, talking about how radical of a senator that she was. She was the most liberal senator in the United States, in the United States Senate. That is a fact. He talked about the job that she did as vice president of the United States, a job, I will add, which has been a failure for the American people. I know you guys like to glom on to this that he talks about in jest or in a serious manner for about a minute or so, but what you do not cover is the litany of failures of Kamala Harris. That's what you're not covering, George.
So questioning somebody's racial identity for a couple minutes is okay?
George, I'm going to tell you again, he brought it up. AP is the one that wrote the headline when she first came in to the United States Senate. Didn't talk about her being black, talked about her being the first Indian American senator. AP brought that up. I mean, George, we could have this conversation for the entire segment, but none of this matters to the American people. What matters to the American people is, are we going to have the same policies of the Biden-Harris administration that has been destructive of the American people? Or are we going to have the policies of the Trump administration, which put America first, had low inflation, prosperous Americans, no matter your race, no matter your color, no matter your creed, and a foreign policy that kept America safe? Those are the facts that truly matter, because this issue is going to come and go. The lives of the American people is what's going to remain, and that's what matters more than anything else.
If it doesn't matter, I don't understand why you keep on repeating it, why the president keeps on repeating it, why those introducing the president yesterday
George,
keep on repeating
I'm
it.
not the one who keeps repeating it. George, you're the one that's bringing it up now.
It's you, George.
You've done it.
I understand why
That's like 5 times.
You've done it 3 times.
Come
Every
on.
single answer you gave me. Now let me finish, sir.
George,
Every single answer you gave, you repeated the slur.
You asked me, George. That's why I'm pushing back on you now. George, you asked me the question 3 times. I responded, but I'm.
And every single time you repeat the slur. That is exactly my point. You simply can't say that it's wrong.
George, so then what you're saying, and I want to get off this topic because it's not the only thing that's going on. But George, now you're saying that AP is the one that slurred Kamala Harris, because those are the facts. You can go to the internet and look at the clips, George, if you want to, or we can talk about this now. I prefer to talk about the future of our country, because the American people are struggling. The American people do need serious policy decisions to be made.
That's right.
And they need serious leadership on the world stage. Kamala Harris has not proven that she can do that. Donald J. Trump has proven that he can do that.
AP did not say that Kamala Harris is not black. She is biracial. She is Indian. She is black. You continue to repeat the fact that you continue to repeat the slur. I don't understand.
No,
why
she's
you
not,
do,
George.
but it's clear you're not going to say that it's wrong, and you've now established that for our audience. Trump also said at the convention that he would pardon January 6 rioters.
Everybody look for themselves. Let's move on.
I've already said that. Go ahead.
On the internet, everybody. Let's move on. There we go.
All right.
Go on and repeat
That's enough of this.
Trump also said.
All right. So Byron Donalds, over and over again, makes it plain that we are not the one making Kamala Harris's race an issue. Not President Trump, not the Republican Party. She's done that. Other individuals have done that on her side. You can't claim to be one thing and you are another. Consider this. What if J.D. Vance's wife all of a sudden came out and said, I'm a black woman? How would the left receive that? You know, J.D. Vance's wife is Indian. If she came out and said, you know, I'm a black woman and I grew up in America as a black woman and all of that stuff, people would be saying that she's a farce. She's a liar. Black people would be angry, especially on the left. if J.D. Vance's wife claimed to be something that she wasn't? Shouldn't we bring it up when she lies and tells us that she's a black woman living in America? But Byron Donalds wants to get down to the brass tacks, and that is how Americans are hurting financially in this country. Listen to this. Since Biden-Harris took office, inflationary policies have robbed the average household of a staggering $25,920. Since January 2021, rent is up 21%, all under Biden-Harris. Since January 2021, grocery costs are up over 21%, all under Biden-Harris. Since January 2021, dining out is 22% more expensive, all under Biden-Harris. Since January 2021, public transportation costs are over 27% more, all under Biden-Harris. Electricity bills are 29% higher, all under Biden-Harris. Tickets for sporting events cost 34% more, all under Biden-Harris. But instead, George Stephanopoulos wants to talk about truly a non-issue that Kamala Harris and her camp has made an issue. And yes, President Trump is right to bring it up, because if we can't trust you to tell the truth as it relates to your ethnicity, can we trust you with nuclear codes? Can we trust you to lead this country properly? The answer is no, we can't. All right, in this next video, we will see that Kamala Harris herself said that she was a black child growing up in America. Take a look at this video.
You see a lot when you're the firstborn. I saw my mother and how she worked hard, and she was full of pride and would never want anyone to ever pity her. She never complained about anything. But I also knew how she suffered. I knew how she stayed up late at night trying to figure things out. She was a brown woman with an accent. I remember going into, a store and us being followed. I remember how people would look at my mother and make certain assumptions about her intelligence or her capacity or her right to belong. As the eldest child, you see this. My mother was very well aware that she was raising two black girls to be two black women.
All right, you heard it.
And she did that instilling
Raising two black girls to be black women.
In our culture and cultures, always knowing that we would face all kinds of obstacles, but she never let us believe that anything could get in the way of our dreams or pursuits. My sister Maya is 2.5 years younger than me. So at the age of 2.5, I was told, look after your sister. And it is something that is very much a part of just who I am, which is that look after those who need your support or need your help. And that has been what has motivated me to do the work I've done, to look after and protect people.
All right, so there you have it. Her sister Maya was raised in the same way that she was to be a black girl. She's a black girl. That's what she's saying. Okay, let's take a look at this other clip where she says that she is of South Asian descent. I can't make this stuff up. Check this out.
Becoming the first Indian American woman to be nominated as a vice presidential candidate in America.
All right.
In a recent event, the Democratic vice presidential nominee took a trip
Even
down
the talk
memory
show
lane,
host called her
recalling her
Indian.
mother's journey from India to America. Now, her mother, Shamala Gopalan, was born in Chennai and immigrated to America to study at UC Berkeley. The Indian origin senator also talked about her trips to India and her mother's attempts to instill a love of good idli in her. Listen.
I stand before you as the first candidate for Vice President of the United States of South Asian descent.
Hold up. Pause that. Wait, did she just say that she was the first Vice President of South Asian descent? Run that back again. I want to hear it again.
I stand before you as the first candidate for Vice President of the United States of South Asian descent.
South Asian descent. South Asian descent. Say it again. South Asian descent. Everybody say it. South Asian descent. Kamala said it. We said it. South Asian descent. Kamala said it. We say it. Oh, man. South Asian descent. That's what she just said. Now, you can't be mad at President Trump because he's saying to himself now, okay, which one is it? I always knew you to be Indian, all right? But you switched, and now you're saying that you are black. Which one is it? Now, keep in mind, this is the exact person who has had the responsibility of protecting American citizens at the border. She's known as the border czar. We can't trust her with her ethnicity. How can we trust her to make sure that fentanyl is not coming into our country? That criminal illegal aliens are not coming into our country and robbing us of our diminishing resources? You can't. And so President Trump is right. And any Republican candidate who's campaigning today, I don't blame you for bringing it up. I bring it up. You want to know why I bring it up? Because she's convincing black Americans, especially those in the black church, to support her because she is of our ethnicity, because she is black. But which one is it? Are you of South Asian descent, or are you black? And so President Trump is right. Byron Donalds is right. I'm right, and you're right if you question whether or not this woman tells the truth. Because if she can't get this issue right, what else will she be able to get right? I'm signing off. I just want to report the news and tell you what's going on. You can make your judgment yourself. Let me ask you a question. Is Kamala Harris black? Or is she of South Asian descent or Indian? Well, that's enough. Thank you so kindly for joining yours truly. And whatever you do, don't forget to disturb the peace. God bless you. I'm signing out.